We have a awesome card this weekend with UFC 291, Gaethje versus Poirier, and I'm going to break down the entire card and give you guys my picks. We're going to start off like normal with the first fight and work our way up to the main event for the BMF belt, Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. Let's get right into it. We are opening up the card with Miranda Maverick versus Priscilla Cachoeira. This is a kind of a gimme fight, I would think. I would think Miranda Maverick should be able to beat Priscilla Cachoeira. Miranda Maverick looked like kind of like shit in her last fight, but I think she's got the perfect style to just kind of throw around Priscilla Cachoeira. Although I don't like the line for this fight. I don't like Miranda Maverick at over minus 300 against fucking anybody. I think she has what it takes to get this one done. I think she'll take her down and control her pretty well. I think it'll probably be pretty boring, but I think Miranda Maverick gets this one done probably by unanimous decision. Moving up the card, we have Matthew Simmonsberger versus Euros Medich. Now, this is a weird matchup for me. This is kind of like Makhmud Muradov versus Brian Barberena last week. It's kind of the same situation for me. I don't know why Euros Medich is going up a weight class. It doesn't make any sense to me. He's a pretty big guy for lightweight, but I just feel like you could have drawn a better guy to make your welterweight debut against than Matthew Simmonsberger. Like, Euros Medich was getting chinned by Jalen Turner. If you think Jalen Turner hits hard, wait till Matthew Simmonsberger hits you in the fucking face. You know what I mean? He's got real power. He had Jeremiah Wells out like three times in that fight. Who else did he drop? He dropped somebody else like a ton. It was Jake Matthews. That's who it was. He's on this card. How did I forget about that? Yeah, a lot of people thought Jake Matthews was gonna go and beat Matthew Simmonsberger, but Matthew Simmonsberger ended up dropping him every single round of that fight. Like, he's got real power. I don't like this fight for Euros Medich, and it's been a while since he's fought. I think that loss to Jalen Turner he beat Omar Morales after that, I think. But it's Omar Morales. He's like 40. That's not giving me confidence in this fight at all. I think Matthew Simmonsberger is going to get this fight over with by TKO, honestly. I don't see a very easy path to victory for Euros Medich at all. Moving up, closing out the early prelims, CJ Vergara versus Venisha Salvador. Now, I've seen a lot of different opinions about this fight in particular. A lot of people are on CJ Vergara at minus 160. I've got a funny feeling that Venisha Salvador is just going to knock him out. Am I crazy for that? I just have this weird feeling. CJ Vergara's last fight, he had a great comeback win, but let's not pretend De Silva isn't 0-4 in the UFC. Like, let's not pretend. Like, that guy is not great. So I don't rate that performance very highly. It's a guy he should have beat, and he made it very, very fucking scary to watch. Venisha Salvador, however, in his last fight against Victor Altamirano, he looked like shit. But I think I trust him to make improvements, and I think they're going to get in an exchange where Venisca lands something on CJ Vergara and wobbles him. I can just see it. You know, Veniscus is the younger guy. He's the bigger guy. I just have this funny feeling he's going to chin him. And he's plus money right now. He's plus 135. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm on the wrong side of history with that one. I don't think so, though. I think Venisha Salvador gets it done by TKO. Moving forward, we have Jake Matthews versus Darius Flowers. Now, I looked at Darius Flowers. This guy seems to have about like 3 minutes of danger, basically. This guy hits really fucking hard, though. Like, he's got big power. I just don't see him being able to land anything of significance on Jake Matthews. And since this fight is at altitude, all these fights are at altitude, by the way. If he doesn't get Jake Matthews out of there in the first round, it's caked for him, as far as I'm concerned. I think Jake Matthews is going to be the cleaner, more technical striker. I think he can win this fight however he wants. Moving up, we have Roman Kapalov versus Claudia Ribeiro. This is another interesting fight. A lot of fights on this card are just chalky when you look at them, in my opinion. Like, some of them are just, I flip a coin. But Roman Kapalov, Claudia Ribeiro. Claudia Ribeiro is a freak athlete who's knocked out every single person he's beaten. He's very wild. He's very unorthodox. I don't think that style matches up particularly well against Roman Kapalov, though. Claudio has huge power, huge knockout power, but I just don't think he's going to land anything of significance versus Roman Kapalov. And it's kind of a similar situation to Jake Matthews and Darius Flowers. If Claudio doesn't get him out of there in like the first 5 minutes, he's going to have some serious problems at altitude. Kapalov has kind of impressed me with his last 2 wins, beating Punahele Soriano, a guy who I think has a pretty similar style, or a similar style to Claudio. Basically just a big athletic knockout puncher, and Kapalov handled him very, very easily. I think Roman's too technical. I don't think he's going to get caught. I don't think he's going to leave himself out there to get chinned super early. He's got a really good boxing guard. I think Roman Kapalov, probably late TKO, unanimous decision. Going up to heavyweight, we have Derrick Lewis versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Derrick Lewis fans, plug your ears for this one. I think this is a bad fucking matchup for him. Man, because first things first, Derrick Lewis cardio at altitude, that's going to be fucking funny. Marcos de Lima has nasty leg kicks. In his last fight against Acosta, he was ripping those things into his legs. I have no idea how Acosta even was standing after the first 2 minutes. He has disgusting leg kicks. He throws them fast and he throws them hard. And Derrick Lewis has chicken legs. So I just think that's problems. Also, De Lima's a really good grappler. If he gets on top, I don't think Derrick Lewis is just standing up from that shit. I really don't. He's got good power in his hands. I just think it's an unfortunate matchup. It's a step down in competition for Derrick Lewis, but I think it's the wrong one. I think Marcos Rogerio de Lima is going to get this one done, probably by TKO. Hey, but it is Derrick Lewis. Anything can happen. Going up to welterweight, we have Gabriel Bonfiglio versus Trevin Giles. In my opinion, the better of the Bonfiglio brothers. Ishmael Bonfiglio just lost to Benoit Saint-Denis. I don't think Gabriel Bonfiglio is going to lose to Trevin Giles. I think he is... I was watching tape on this guy last night. This dude is really fucking good. I think Gabriel Bonfiglio dominates this fight wherever it goes. I think he's probably going to win by submission. I think he's probably going to go the path of least resistance and just take Trevin Giles down and choke him, honestly. Trevin Giles has really good boxing, but I don't think that's going to cut it against Gabriel Bonfiglio. I think he's way too skilled. I think he's way too high level. Jumping up to the main card, we have Michael Chiesa and Kevin Holland. This is what I'm talking about when I say a lot of fights on this card are just chalky. Like looking at this fight, it's like, who do you trust here? Michael Chiesa's 35 years old. He's given up like 6 inches in reach. He's off a 2-year layoff, I think, almost. It's like, do you trust him? Or do you trust Kevin Holland, a guy who refused to grapple with Stephen Thompson when he was getting his head caved in? It's like, who do you trust here? But I am going to lean towards the side of Kevin Holland because he has been more active. He's been fighting guys. Michael Chiesa's been sitting on like an ESPN broadcast desk doing nothing, as far as I know. And it's been just such a long time off. He's not getting any younger. He's 35. And I think there's definitely, at some point in this fight, going to be an opportunity for Kevin Holland to land a big shot on Michael Chiesa. Because Kevin Holland is huge. He throws a lot of unorthodox strikes, and he has a lot of reach and a lot more speed on his strikes than Michael Chiesa. I think Kevin Holland can get this one done by TKO. But I also see a terrible world where Michael Chiesa lays on top of him for all 3 rounds and gets a boring decision. So do with that what you will. Oh, brother. Moving up, moving up to lightweight, we have Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green. Um, Man, it actually takes a piece of my soul to say this, but I think Bobby Green's probably gonna win this fight. Uh, um, this is a terrible style matchup for Tony Ferguson. It is especially a terrible style matchup for Tony Ferguson at 40 fucking years old. Bobby Green is a guy who loves to sit on the back foot and counter strike and use his boxing. And Tony Ferguson is the kind of guy, he's the type of guy who's just going to walk at him. Because that's just how he fights. He doesn't fight walking backwards. Like, he's not a backwards fighter like Bobby Green. He's going to run at him from the start. That's what he does every single time. And Bobby Green loves that shit. You know, he was teeing off on Drew Dober, who was trying to walk him down. He did it to Fiziev and made that a close fight somehow. Like, guys who just walk in on Bobby Green tend to do very badly because he is so good at countering them. And Tony Ferguson, he strikes with his chin up a lot, man. Like, if this was like 2017, Tony Ferguson would be a minus 1,000, but it's not 2017 anymore, man. I feel like this is a terrible matchup. I feel like Bobby Green's going to find his chin. I do. I hate to say it. It crushes my heart, but I think he's going to win. But are we really laying chalk on Bobby Green at minus 380 in 2023? Minus 380? That's crazy. If I see somebody playing Bobby Green at minus 380, I hope they fucking lose. Also, really quickly, I'm gonna say this right now. I'm gonna put up a little icon on screen. This is an insane cope alert. Insane cope alert coming right now, because I'm about to cope so hard for Tony Ferguson. It's gonna be crazy right now because he's my favorite fighter. I'm gonna tell you a way he could maybe win this fight. Maybe. I think he must, if he wants to be Bobby Green, he must work his teep kick and work his leg kicks early. He has to do it early. He has to invest in the body and the legs early at altitude, because once you start to slow down the movement of Bobby Green, it becomes a lot more manageable. If you go into boxing range with him early, it's a very bad idea, because he has complete and total control over his movement. He's not being inhibited by leg kicks or body kicks or anything like that. You're not going to hit him in the head. You're not. You have to work the body and the legs. I think Tony Ferguson has really good teep kicks. I think his leg kicks are fine. He was using them really effectively against Nate Diaz, but it's Nate Diaz. He fucking sucks. But Tony Ferguson lost to him, so does Tony Ferguson fucking suck? I don't know, man. I'm just coping. Every part of my body wants Tony Ferguson to win this fight. I don't think he's going to, though. Moving up, we have Stephen Thompson, Michel Pereira. Another fight that looks like just an absolute nightmare to bet on. Stephen Thompson's minus 150, and I kind of like that line. I think this fight's probably going to be a stand-up affair, and standing up with Stephen Thompson is always a fucking mistake. Michel Pereira, though, is gigantic. He is huge for the division. But his cardio sucks, man. He was getting gassed out against Nico Price, taking Nico Price to a decision. He's getting gassed out against Santiago Ponzinibbio, taking Ponzinibbio to a very, very, very close split decision. I just feel like Stephen Thompson is levels above those guys on the feet, like head and shoulders levels above them. And if you're getting tired against them, taking them to close decisions, man, you are in for some fucking problems if you're going to stand up as Stephen Thompson. Granted, Stephen Thompson is 40, but he did also just destroy Kevin Holland on the feet. So he still got it. Now, Michel Pereira's path to victory here is obviously the grappling, but will he shoot? Can I trust Michel Pereira to actually shoot a takedown? Or do I trust Stephen Thompson to outstrike Michel Pereira? Which do you think is a more logical bet? It's Stephen Thompson outstriking him. you gotta take Stephen Thompson here, I feel like. I just feel like this is a no-brainer. Now, because when Stephen Thompson gets taken down, it's not like he automatically loses. Bilal Muhammad took him down, couldn't finish him. Gilbert Burns took him down, couldn't finish him. And I think both of those guys are much better grapplers, at least Gilbert Burns, than Michel Pereira. Gilbert Burns is a guy you don't want having you down at all. And he didn't finish Wonderboy Thompson. So I just feel like Stephen Thompson isn't lost when it comes to engaging on the ground, or at least defending himself on the ground. I think he can win this fight, probably by unanimous decision, because I think the altitude's also going to be hard on Michel Pereira. Moving up to the co-main event at light heavyweight, Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira. Jeez, this is a fight, huh? Another just razor close fight odds wise. I'm just gonna be upfront. I'm going with Alex Pereira. I think there are some intangibles here that we need to talk about. Jan Blachowicz is going to look like a child standing next to Alex Pereira at 205. Alex Pereira is fucking gigantic. I think he's going to be way bigger in the octagon. And I don't think Jan Blachowicz is going to be prepared for the absolute striking onslaught that's coming his way. And I see a lot of people saying, Jan Blachowicz is going to take him down. Is he? Are you sure? What round did he decide to take down Israel Adesanya in? Round 4? Round 5? He struck with him for 3. What happens if he just decides to strike with Alex Pereira? You say Jan Blachowicz is going to shoot takedowns. He didn't shoot any takedowns against Magomed Ankalaev, who had literally no legs under him. Would have been free takedowns, free rounds if he just shot. And he didn't. Matter of fact, he got taken down by a guy with no legs. Can you really rely on him to go shoot a takedown and get it? I don't think you can. But you know what I can rely on? I can rely on Alex Pereira bulldozing forward and knocking people out with a left hook. I can rely on that. I think that's probably what's going to happen. I think he's going to be the bigger guy, the faster guy, the more powerful guy. He's the younger guy. I think he's going to overwhelm Jan Blachowicz. I really do. I think he's going to get him out of there by TKO. Another thing I want to mention, a lot of people draw comparisons to Alex Pereira and Adesanya. They are not similar fighters at all. Jan Blachowicz took down Adesanya because Adesanya was a little undersized for 205. Alex Pereira is going to be like every bit of 230 pounds when they fight this Saturday. He is much bigger than Adesanya, and he is much stronger. He is really good at getting underhooks as well. I think people are a little off on Jan Blachowicz's offensive wrestling in this fight. I don't think it's going to be as much of a factor as people think. Now, Jan Blachowicz can knock him out. Alex Pereira's striking defense is not his strong suit. It's his overwhelming offense. So there's always a chance Jan Blachowicz lands a good counter shot on Alex Pereira. It's easily possible. And Alex Pereira did just get KO'd like 4 months ago. So that's actually, I think that's more of a possibility than Jan Blachowicz just easily taking him down, honestly. But I think there's a chance Jan Blachowicz KOs him. But I think it's a lot smaller than the chance of Alex Pereira KOing Jan Blachowicz. You know what I mean? I've rabbled on too long about this fight. I'm going Alex Pereira. I'm going TKO. Moving up to our lightweight main event for the BMF title. Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. What a fun fight this is, man. Once again, odds super tight, very close, almost evens. More people are leaning towards Dustin Poirier. However, I think I'm leaning towards Justin Gaethje in this fight. I really do. I don't think you can read into their first fight as much as some people want to. That fight happened like 5 years ago, and when you go back and watch that fight and compare that version of Justin Gaethje to like the version of Justin Gaethje that fought like Rafael Fiziev or a Michael Chandler or even a Tony Ferguson back then, the composure is different. He's a lot more composed. His striking's a little bit tighter than it used to be back then. He kind of went into those fights with like almost like a barbarian mindset where it's just like, I'm just gonna swing. I don't care if I get hit back. I think he's a lot more calm in the pocket, and I think he's a lot more composed right now. Obviously, Dustin Poirier can win this fight, but when you look at that fight, their first fight, I see a lot of changes in Justin Gaethje's game. I don't see a lot of changes in Dustin Poirier's. Granted, Dustin Poirier's game really didn't need to change that much, to be honest, because he's such a good fighter. So I don't even know if you can read into that so much. But I like seeing the progression of Justin Gaethje as a fighter. I also think something important here. I don't think Dustin Poirier is going to have cardio issues, but I think it is beneficial for Justin Gaethje because he trains at altitude. Last time there was a card in Salt Lake City was Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards. And if you remember, that whole card, everybody was having cardio issues except for Kamaru Usman, who is a guy who trains with Justin Gaethje. He trains at altitude. I think that could be beneficial. I don't know if it's going to be that big of a sway as far as the fight goes, but it's nice to have extra things going your way. I think if Justin Gaethje wants to win this fight, he does have to do something that he was doing in the first fight, and that's land leg kicks. He's got to leg kick Dustin Poirier. He's got to chew up his legs. He's got to stop that movement. But I think it would benefit him to throw these leg kicks after some combinations as well. And I think he will do that. I think this more composed and calm version of Justin Gaethje will throw a combination and then let a leg kick rip behind it instead of just throwing a naked leg kick in the pocket and then eating a combination from Poirier in return. I think he has improved, and I think this is going to be, regardless, I think this is going to be a super tightly contested fight, but I'm going to lean on Justin Gaethje at plus money. I think he wins late TKO, like round 4, round 5. I do. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my picks. And I will see you guys next week. See ya.